Hi everybody, I'm Corinne Blackstone and welcome to my craft room. In today's video, I'm going to show you how you can use Siser Easy Patterns with Siser Easy Puff. This is such a fun thing to do and it really gives you kind of this really cool, almost like embroidered look, and I just thought these were so fun to make. And you can use all the different patterns, all the different puffs, and really just have fun with this, be creative, and just do your own thing. But I wanted to do some little flowers to these. I got my vinyl from Heat Press Nation, and what I love about their website, number one, it's super easy to navigate through all the different vinyls and HTV that they carry. They carry so much stuff that you can find anything that you're looking for. Plus, you can order it in yards. Plus, the best part, free shipping. We know we hate to pay for shipping, and if you're like me, you're one of those people, it's like, oh, well, I'm not going to order because I got to pay $3.99 for shipping, $4.99 for shipping. With Heat Press Nation, you don't have to worry about that, so you can order what you need and have it shipped right to you. And they have two different warehouses. So they have one over on the West Coast, and then they also have one on the East, so that you are covered wherever you are in the country. They should be able to get it to you pretty quickly. So definitely check out Heat Press Nation. I'll link them down below if you want to grab any of these, and I'll link the specific designs that I'm using for these and the puff vinyl as well, plus the heat press that I got from them, because I love that heat press, and you'll see that a little bit later in the video. Now, without further ado, be sure that you're subscribed here on YouTube. That way you don't miss out on any of the fun, crafty content we have coming. Let's head over to Cricut Design Space, and I'm going to show you how to set these up so that you can cut them with some puff, some patterns, and even some regular Siser Easy Weed.
The first thing we'll need to do is to upload our images, and I'm going to show you how to do this in two different ways because there's a few caveats to how you need to do it if you have a different style design. So first thing we'll do is click upload, and then we're going to choose upload image. Now you can drag or drop or browse through your file. The first one I'm going to put in is a layered flower. We're going to be using the SVG, and this has 3 layers. It has the black, the purple, and the yellow. So I'm going to click continue, and all I have to do from here is simply click upload. It's going to put it into my Cricut Design Space. So we'll start with this one first, and then we'll do the next one. The first thing I need to do is ungroup my design, which over here is right in my layers panel. Just click these 2 squares and click ungroup. Now you'll see that you're going to have a couple of pieces to your design. Now keep in mind, I want to do the black with a puff HTV. So that being said, my HTV here, this design that's black, it can't be solid like that. It's not going to puff correctly. So how are we going to fix that issue? What I'm going to do is select all my design. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to align it, and I want to align it center. Now you're going to notice that that circle is not centered. Just recenter it yourself. Totally fine. It's not perfect. But what I need to do is to slice out the purple and the yellow from the black in order to create the outline that I need to use. You also need to know that you can't layer on top of patterns. So if you were thinking about inverting this somehow and layering the puff on top of a solid pattern design, you can't layer on top of that. So we need to make sure that all of our HTV is touching the fabric, and it's very easy to do. What we'll do is we're going to select just the purple and the black, and we're going to use the slice. Now it is going to look like your yellow has disappeared. I promise it hasn't. But what I'm going to do is delete this solid black section, and I'll hide the purple so you can see. Now you can see the white behind that. That means that we have in fact sliced it out. So we'll have a little bit less of a solid space. But remember, we also need to slice out the yellow. So just select the yellow and the black and choose slice. And again, you can just delete the black and you'll see that the yellow will come back in. Now, if I move everything off of the black, you'll see that our black shows the white from the back, which means that it will be the shirt showing through or whatever blank you're using for this. So that way we're not trying to layer the puff and we're not trying to layer the pattern. Now, I will say that this is going to be a little bit tricky just because you are going to need to get these lined up really, really well. Now, I'm going to point out to you, do you notice this flower is kind of organic? I love that fact that it's a little bit organic, but what's going to make it a little tricky to line up is that it only is going to go in one direction. So you are going to need to really kind of pay attention. And I will note, see, there's this one petal right here that's a little bit more pointy than the rest. That's going to be the petal we're going to use to line everything up. Now we can go ahead and get this sized into whatever size we want it to be for whatever our blank is going to be. I think I'm going to put this on maybe a kid's shirt just so you can see it a little bit differently. So I'm going to size it down a bit. I may need to adjust it a little depending on what size child's shirt I have, but there's that one, easy to go. Now I'm going to go ahead and just hide these so they're out of our way for our next one. So that's pretty easy to do. You just slice it out until you only have, sections that are going to touch the shirt. For our next one, we're going to go ahead and upload the image. This one, I'm going to use this sunflower looking one, and it's really, really cute, but we're going to need to do a few steps to make sure that this one's going to come out right. So I'm going to click continue. And I'm going to upload it. I know it looks a little blurry, but don't worry, it's an SVG, so it won't be blurry on screen. Now what I want to do is I'm going to ungroup this, and we're going to kind of take a look at the different parts of our design. We have our stem, we have the flower bits, and then we also have our circle. Now we need to put embroidery, and by embroidery I mean the puff, around each of the parts of our design. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of undo all the moving that I just did so that everything's lined up. Now, keeping in mind again that we cannot layer the pattern, we cannot layer the puff, so we are going to need to be doing some slicing. And on this one, we're going to need to create that outline like the first flower had. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just slice this brown out of the yellow. That's going to be our very, very first step. So I'm just going to delete the extra yellow, and now we'll have a hole in the yellow. Again, I'll just undo that so I don't have to move everything around too much. Now we need to start making some offsets. And when we're making these offsets, we're going to need to make sure that we slice them out of other parts that might be overlapping. And I know that sounds a little bit confusing, but I promise it's going to be a little bit easier than you actually think. And we're going to use a couple of different colors of puff for this. So I'm going to show you how we do this. I'm not sure what colors we're using exactly. I don't know exactly what I have, but I'm going to go ahead and use a few different colors of puff so that you can see how to do this in a couple like little tips and tricks. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create the offset around the yellow. Offset is under effects, and when you click offset, it will bring it up. Now I am going to reduce the size of the offset a little bit. I don't want these huge offsets, so I'm going to do about 0.139 and click apply. Now with this offset, what I need to do is I actually need to slice a few things out of it in order for it to sit correctly onto the design. So you'll notice here that it's going to overlap this green a little bit. So I need to slice it away from the green. So in order to do that without causing any issues to the offset itself, I'm going to show you a little trick. So select your offset and select your green and then slice. Now, once you've done that, I don't want you to remove this little gray piece. I want you to only remove the green piece. I want you to take the gray piece and the gray offset, and I want you to go down, combine, and weld them. That's going to create that offset to be a full offset again. Now, when we do the green here, what I need to do is I'm going to, again, create the offset, and the offset's going to overlap the gray here. Don't worry, we'll again fix this issue. So I'm going to click apply. Now I need to slice out the green offset, and I'll change the color on this so you can kind of get a better look. Let's just make this blue so you can see. So I'm going to take this blue offset and I need to slice it out of this weld result. So I'm going to select both of those and choose slice. Now again, with this one, I want to actually remove the blue piece here, and we're going to just go ahead and remove that. And then again, I'm going to take the gray and I'm just going to go ahead and combine it and weld it again. This way they don't end up overlapping each other. Now we're going to do a little bit more slicing because if you'll notice, your offset is solid behind your design and we can't have that. So in order to eliminate that issue, you're going to need to slice out your design from your offset. So I'm going to slice, and then I want to get rid of the middle section of the blue here. And now you'll see if I had the green, it's just an outline, which is exactly what we want. We want to do the same thing up here to the flower head, but if you want to put some puff around the center, you can absolutely do that. Now we need to slice away the leaves here, the flower petals, from the offset for the flower. So I'm just going to go with this. I'm going to hold these two down and I'm going to slice. Now again, we can get rid of the gray flower petals and we want to keep just the outline. So once I have all my pieces and parts, let me pull them apart to show you. The one thing you're going to notice though is see how we still have that intersection? That's actually kind of okay because I want this middle part to have an embroidery piece around it as well. So let's say we want that to happen. What we can do to easily fit a circle in here, just get rid of this original circle. I want you to duplicate your offset, and you're going to go to contour. Under contour, just get rid of all of these like outside pieces, and you're only going to leave the inner ring here, and click apply. Now that I have this ring, I do need to remove the ring from the middle one. So I'm going to just click on the ring and the center circle, click apply, and now I'll have all of the pieces. But I still need the inner piece that goes in between here. So just go ahead, duplicate, hit contour, contour out the outer ring, click apply, and then you can change this back to like brown, and then you'll see you have all of your pieces and parts. Now I can do the inner ring a different color if I want to, so maybe I want to cut that in just a different color to match the inside circle. And like I said, I don't know what colors of puff I got, so I have to go look. I have to remind myself of what color puffs I have. But what's going to be fun is the petals are going to be a pattern, and then this will be solid color, and the brown will be a solid color, but then everything else will be like puff, so it looks like embroidery. Now I can bring out the other design here, and these are the two designs that we're going to make. Now again, the colors on this one are not fantastic, but they are going to be really fun. Now I'm not sure again what I'm going to put these on. I'll see what blanks I have downstairs in my craft room. But I think these are really fun. Now, before I do anything else, I am going to click save, and I'm going to save this as puff and pattern and click save. I always recommend saving your projects a couple times while you're working on them, just in case Design Space decides to crash. From here, when we hit make, you're going to see we're going to have a lot of mats because we have a lot of different colors. That may change depending on the colors of puff and pattern that I decide to use once I kind of see what they all look like together. But you'll see here we have our first flower, and this will be puff. This will also be puff. This is going to be just regular HTV. This is regular HTV. This is just the center of that purple flower. This is going to be one of the Siser Easy patterns. This might be a pattern. I don't know. We'll see what we have. That'll look cute together. But either way, we've got that. This is that offset for your flower. Here is the purple petals that will also be a pattern. And then this is that center ring for our sunflower looking design. So like I said, you're going to have a lot of mats, but we'll be able to cut these pretty easily. I'm going to show you them all cutting. It's really easy to work with. The great thing is with puff, it cuts for me on the everyday iron-on setting. So I won't have to change the settings going between the different colors and the different types of HTV. Same with the Siser Easy patterns. Those cut on the everyday iron-on setting as well. So let's head over to the machine. I'm going to show you how to load everything because there are little caveats to loading some of these designs, and then we're going to get them all pressed using our HPN Craft Pro 15x15 heat press.
These are the two Siser Easy patterns that I've chosen. I'm going to do this kind of fun rainbow watercolor, and then I also want to do this really cool tie-dye. I just thought they'd be fun for flowers. Now with the Siser Easy pattern, you want to flip it over and you want your white side up, so you want the color side to be down or carrier sheet side down. What's great about these is they have the carrier sheet built in on the front, unlike a lot of other patterned HTV where you have to have a mask, and it can be a little bit of a pain. So I want to cut the sunflower one with this tie-dye, and then I want to cut that like more petally one with this fun rainbow. Now once it's done cutting, I do always just like to double check my cut. So I'm just going to find the circle in the middle and just see if that's going to come up. Now this is a little bit of like a thinner HTV, so you want to be careful using your pin pen. It might rip it a little bit, but it looks like it cut it really, really well. So I think we're good. I'm going to go ahead and unload, and then we will remove this one from the mat, and then we're going to place our next one down. Now with this one, you kind of can decide which way you want your pattern to go, whether you want to load it so that it's going to cut this way or whether it's going to go like sideways. I think I'm going to go sideways. I think sideways is fine for me. And then I'm going to go ahead and put this down. I did do a little test cut in the corner. That's why that corner is missing. And I'm going to go ahead and load this. We're going to cut this out and then we'll weed everything.
Touch the sky. Every challenge makes us strong. Keep on moving all day long. Keep on moving all day long.
I do want to talk to you a little bit about puff because it's quite a different breed of HTV, especially when it comes to placing it on the mat. So normally you would say, I want to put the shiny side down, but this is really old. I want you guys to stop saying that. It needs to be carrier sheet side down because This is actually the carrier sheet. This nice matte section here is the carrier sheet. And with puff, I do tend to use a strong grip mat. This is the Hello Hobby brand one. And again, you're gonna put that with the matte side down. Because that carrier sheet is matte, I don't find it sticking very well to pretty much most of my mats, but it will stick to my strong grip mat, which is why this is the one that I do use when I'm using the Puff HTV. Just find that it works a lot better.
Through the doubts and through the haze, we ignite a brighter blaze. The path ahead is ours to mold, a story brave and yet untold. Rise above the clouds so high, spread your wings and touch the sky. Every challenge makes us strong. Keep on moving.
We're gonna start with the little daisy simple design, as I would call it. Even though it looks more complicated, pressing this one is gonna be a lot easier than you actually think it is. And I love being able to press these. They're super easy, but we need to do it in layers, and we wanna make sure that our shirt is lined up. So one thing that I like to do is I do what I call like dry fitting it. So I'm gonna put the whole design together on the shirt just to make sure that I like where it's sitting. I think I want that to sit just a little lower. And then that looks pretty centered. The nice thing is with shirts, if they're not perfectly centered, nobody's gonna notice. Then I'm gonna just set the daisy center in, or whatever kind of flower this is, I really don't know, just so I can get a good look at what that's gonna look like. And then, remember we said we were gonna use that one pointy leaf here, or petal, to make sure everything's lined up. This is gonna be really, really cute. Oh, I can't wait. So what I wanna do now is I'm gonna peel off the pattern and the yellow, since we've got everything set the way we want it to be. Now I am going to be pressing the patterns first, and then I'll press the puff, but I'll show it to you in a different, like in the order that we're gonna press on each shirt. But I'm gonna take this over to my press. This press is at 305, but we won't do the full press on it because we want to make sure that we're not going to shrink this, because that could cause the puff not to line up. We're going to press our first piece to our shirt, and we're just going to do this one for a few seconds. That way it doesn't shrink too much, so literally just did like maybe 3-4 seconds. Now this is a medium cold peel, so I'm gonna let this cool off a bit. What's cool about this, I can cool it off by pulling the little drawer out from the heat press. This heat press is fantastic. This is the Craft Pro from Heat Press Nation in the 15 by 15 size. So let me let this cool off a little bit, and then I'll peel it and we can do our next layers. This is cooled down a bit, so we're going to go ahead and peel. You do want to go a little bit slow just to make sure that everything stayed down, especially when you have a lot of smaller layers like this. And then I'm going to press the yellow center next. That presses at the same time and temperature. I'm going to be using the puff to help me line it up. So what I do is I place the yellow center into the puff layer just so I can make sure it's lined up. And then I'm going to go ahead and find that sticky, that sharp pointy one. There he is, he's down here. And we're gonna line that up together. And that is gonna ensure that that yellow center is gonna be lined up perfectly. So now when I peel this off, I wanna make sure that the yellow center stays down. And then again, I'm gonna go ahead and just press for just a few seconds, literally like 2-3 seconds tops. Go ahead and pull that off. Now with Easy Weed, which is what the yellow is, you can peel that one hot. So that one is ready to go. Now I do need to let this cool down and cool down the press before I press the puff. So I'm going to do that. Puff presses at 280 degrees, and we're going to just do one single puff press with a firm pressure. While we wait for the press to cool, we will line this up. So again, finding the pointy one, and we'll line up this. Now you're gonna need to scooch it around a little until you're happy with the way it's sitting. Keeping in mind that the black's gonna puff a little bit, so you may be able to hide any tiny gaps because HTV does shrink a little regardless of how hard you try for it not to. I've got a little shrinkage, so what I'm gonna do is just kind of adjust this so that it's just sitting as centered as possible. And the nice thing is with the puff, it's going to probably cover up any of those gaps anyways, so you shouldn't have to worry too much about it. We'll go ahead and let the press finish cooling down and get these pressed. I've got you zoomed in a bit here so that you can see once I open the press, but I'm going to go ahead and press this with firm pressure for about 10 seconds at 280 degrees. Now this is a peel it right away product, so once we pull this off, and a lot of times it'll lift your carrier sheet anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and peel that, and it is puffy. Now I do think this one could have been a little puffier. I think maybe the press is still a little too warm because it was like 182, but it is puffing as it's sitting here, so I'm super excited to show you this one up close. But let's press the other one. Now we're gonna do the other shirt here, and this one is quite a bit more complicated. We're gonna need to do some trimming on the carrier sheets because with puff, you can only press puff one time. If you press it any more than once, it's going to damage it. So first things first, we've got a couple of layers here. And I just thought these were fun colors. We kind of kept it a little more traditional. So we'll start with the flower head, which is like the bright colored one, about 2 inches down or 2 fingers down from your carrier sheet. Now with this one, we do want to make sure, because I've got it a little too straight, I'm going to take the stem here and just kind of figure out, okay, it goes between 2 petals. So we actually need to have it angled like this. We can't have the petals straight. We need to have the petals so we have a down section. Now we can layer the actual vinyl itself in its own presses for each color if we want to, but when we're layering the puff, we are going to need to layer this all together. So what we're going to do, I'm going to trim the carrier sheet literally so close to the vinyl here that I'm almost cutting the vinyl off. I'm cutting right to the edge of it. And that way, when we lay all this down, it will all line up beautifully. So remember, we've got a little edge for this. So I'm going to lay this one down first. And that way I can just get an idea of where everything's going to sit, because then this sits right against that one. And then we've got the inside of this. And again, this is just a dry fit just to kind of make sure that everything's going to fit together. And don't worry, I'm going to show you how I'm going to do this circle too, because this circle we're going to just trim around a little bit so that we can have the circle inside. And then we'll do this circle. All right, cool. All right, that's going to look really, really good. But I am going to show you a quick trick real quick. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim this carrier sheet way down, and then we'll put it into the inside of the other puff, and that way your carrier sheets aren't going to overlap. And we'll check overlapping carrier sheets as we press these, but we're going to go ahead, head over to the press and get all these pressed down, and then I'm going to show you how cool this is going to look. We're going to get our second shirt pressed here. And again, it's going to be those same directions. When you do the first presses, it's just going to be for a couple of seconds. I want to make sure that there's no real wrinkles in the way. This is going to wrinkle a little, but that's okay. We'll get that out of the way, and we'll go ahead and push the drawer in. And again, press for just a few seconds. We'll let that layer cool, and then we'll put down some of the other HTV that needs to be pressed down as well. Perfect. So we're going to go ahead and peel this. Again, you do want to go slow just in case. Since you're not doing a full press on these, it is good to just take your time a little bit. This is so cute. I love the colors. This is the quick little trick I'm going to use to center this, just like I centered the first one, is I'm going to use my ring for my puff and center the little center ball or the center of the flower on that. And then I'm going to get the center of the flower placed down so that it's not in the way, and then we can peel that off. We can press the green at the same time. Now I want to make sure this one is laid down correctly as well, so I am going to just use a couple of the layers here to help. And I'm not pushing this one all the way down, I just need to use it to kind of get a little bit of spacing. Now this is not a fully symmetrical flower, so you do need to make sure you get your design the correct direction. Okay, I just need to leave a little gap. Okay, should not be bad. I can just leave a really small gap here. So what I'm doing is just lining up this green here under the orange. Okay, perfect. I'm going to get the orange off, leaving the brown. Now, this is definitely a little more complicated when it comes to layering because some of these types of products can't be layered, but with some practice, I promise you can get this. So I'm gonna go ahead, push this in, and we're gonna go ahead and, again, just press for just a few seconds. This does not need a full press. And again, this is just regular easy weed. So for this, you're gonna peel this one nice and hot. Now I'm gonna let the press cool down to 280 degrees so we can press the puff. Remember, I told you with this one, we're gonna have to press the puff all at once because we don't want to press it more than one single time. So I have the brown under the orange and the green also under the orange. The orange is currently our top layer. Now I did my best to line everything up as best I could. Nobody's perfect, we all make mistakes, but I'm gonna turn the pressure up just a touch. And all I do is I just turn the little dial on the top of the press. Then we're gonna go ahead and press this one down, and we're gonna see if we can get a really good puff on these. Pull that off, and then again, remember it is just a pull off right away. Oh, this one puffed really nicely. Oh, that's beautiful. Oh, I love it. It's so cute. I'm gonna give you guys a close-up look of these because they're so adorable.
And here are the designs all finished. Now, I wish my camera could pick up the puff on the black a lot more, but it just, no matter what I did, wasn't doing it, but it did puff really pretty nicely. And one thing that you want to note when you're working with puff is that it shouldn't look like brains. It should be smooth, like you can see here in the texture. So when you're pressing it, you want to make sure that you press puff at 280 degrees with a firm pressure for about 8 to 10 seconds. And then when you're doing the easy patterns from Siser, those are going to be pressed at 305 for about 10 to 15 seconds unless you're layering, and then you just want to do a few seconds. And then those are going to be a medium to cold peel. So you want to make sure that you're following those directions to make sure that your HTV is going to last and stand up to wash and wear. Now, if you have any questions, please let me know in those comments down below. I'm always happy to answer this for you. I got everything from Heat Press Nation, and I'll link down below so that you can grab your supplies to make these fun shirts. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and as always, happy crafting.